HelloFresh versus Home Chef. I'll admit it, I sometimes get their names confused because they sound so similar, but despite that, there is only one that will survive this battle, and I'll tell you who it is. I have been continuing this quest, trying to find the best meal kit service, and these are two that I was excited to try out. HelloFresh I had heard of before, it was very familiar with. Home Chef was not one that I knew a lot about, and it was really surprising to me, and I'll tell you why here in a moment. But before we get into the bulk of the video, I do want to say I have a discount code for both of these items, both of these meal kits, that is in the description there. You can click on that, go through that portal, and be able to get a really great discount on either one of them or both of them if you want to try them both and verse them yourself. And you get to pick all the options. You get to decide how often you want the meals, how many servings, what delivery date, which menu items you want, all of that kind of stuff. So you get to pick that, but you get a great discount if you use our link. And obviously that helps out the channel here and supports us, but it gives you a great discount as well. So I ordered these a few weeks apart. The experience of ordering them was very similar. I'm finding the more of these kits that I do, how similar their websites are set up. So there's really not much that stands out in that, except for one thing with Home Chef. I did like how their kind of menu options was broke up. You could see they had like the express menu items, they had higher end items, there was like a filet mignon on there and that. They had burgers, which I had not seen any burgers on any of these before. So I did like just the options that were on the menu, and the way it was broke up didn't seem like it was all mixed together, but seemed a little bit more intuitive. But other than that, again, very similar. You got all the same options. You can get 2, 4, 6 servings. We opted for 4. We're a family of 3, but my daughter's only 2, so she picks and chooses what she wants to eat. And we love the leftovers, so I'm always, I would rather order more and have extra than not enough. But I would say one of the big standouts when they arrived was the way that the box for Home Chef was organized. There was literally 2 bags for each meal that was divided up, and all the work was done for you. And then the meat was in there lower. And I thought that was great because whereas HelloFresh does a very similar thing, they had bagged, but I love the little Ziploc bags that sort of divided everything out. So the unboxing video, which you can watch, click on the link there in the screen, was great. However, there was a little anticlimactic. It was just one bag pulled out and there's all your ingredients in there. Everything was very high quality. Everything was very cool to the touch. That's a great way of how it was packaged because the Home Chef one set out for a little bit longer. Now it's winter here, but it arrived and I wasn't home at the time. And then by the time I got home, I just put it out in the garage and then opened it the next day. But it was still a solid ice pack that was in the bottom, very well insulated. And everything was just, again, very well laid out. You know, as far as the instructions go into cooking, there was a couple of little nice things that Home Chef provided. One, they gave you this binder to keep all their recipe cards together because we have been keeping some of the recipe cards from all the different kits that we've ordered just to hang on to in case we wanted to make some of these later. And I like that they have a binder in there. The other thing they have in the binder is they have sort of laid out basic instructions before you cook, things that you'll need, and that's really well laid out. That is also on the HelloFresh. But I will say I missed that when I was first reading through there. Let that be a lesson to you. Just like school, always make sure you read through all the instructions before you start. I thought Home Chef laid that out really well so you could see everything that you needed to do. And the instructions were very broken up in very specific ways. And you know, I gotta say, I'm not a professional chef. I don't know what I'm doing in the kitchen. If you've seen any of my cooking videos, you know that very well.
So, toss. That's not working.
But I thought Home Chef really did a nice job of sorta, as their name implies, it is geared towards people that maybe aren't as experienced in the kitchen. That's me. And it makes it really easy to follow, and the instructions are there. And I would say with HelloFresh, there was points when I was cooking that everything was sort of going at once and I got a little nervous, but Home Chef was very straightforward, and there was moments where I just went, wow, this is all ready.
I feel pretty good. I might go relax somewhere.
Now, to be fair, one of the menu items that I got with Home Chef was the pesto mac and cheese, which was one of their express menus. Now, it said that it took only 15 minutes. It probably took me closer to 25 minutes, but that usually seems a trend that it's 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes more on the time that it takes. But there was much less prep with that one. Everything was kind of already ready to go. The noodles were already cooked. So that one obviously was going to be a little bit easier to follow. The other recipe that I got with that was the bacon and cheese stuffed chicken. Now that was one of their standard menus, and that was a little bit more of an easier comparison. I still feel like that one was a little bit easier to follow and a little bit more straightforward as far as how the steps worked out and that sort of thing. But, and again, this is not to say that HelloFresh, their instructions were confusing by any means, but I will say I did that one first. So it sort of had a little bit more of a weight on it that I wasn't familiar with how these instructions were going to be laid out, or kind of how the steps were going to be or anything like that. But I do feel like, Home Chef is just a little bit, for me, for my way of looking at it, was a little bit easier to follow, just to be perfectly honest with you. Now, I think the big question here is the taste. And this is always tricky for me to really speak honestly about, because obviously I get to choose which menu items that I pick. And I would say, for HelloFresh, I had the chicken sausage bolognese and the Tex-Mex enchiladas. Both really good. I think the enchiladas were a little bit better just for my taste. And actually I thought it was gonna be the other way around. I'm usually more of a pasta chicken kind of guy. So the enchiladas was maybe a bigger surprise that was really good. And that's a recipe card we hung on to because I thought they were really straightforward in how to make it. Once I went all the way through it, it made perfect sense to me of how to make that. And then for the Home Chef, we got the white cheddar pesto mac and cheese and the bacon cheese stuffed chicken. Again, really good items. I thought that I wanted a little bit more out of the white cheddar mac and cheese. I think that it was a very kind of straightforward flavor. If that makes any sense, it didn't blow me away. I mean, it was delicious. I thought maybe I'd be wowed. But with the bacon and cheese stuffed chicken, which obviously just by the name sounds good, was really, really good. I thought the stuffing that the chicken was stuffed with, the cream cheese filling, was really flavorful and a flavor explosion. Really, really like that. Maybe they could have been a little bit bigger, as far as the portion sizes go, but it was plenty of food, plenty to eat, and just really delicious. Very much enjoyed that. And again, I want to say, if you at all want to try out any one of these, whether it be some of these same menus, if you want to see if you can find those, they change them out every week, both of these companies. But again, there's a discount code in the description below. Click on that, get a great discount on your order, and then you pick out what you want and how much you want and which ones you want and all of that. And by all means, you could try out both of them and then come back here and let me know your thoughts. Maybe you agree or disagree with my assessment. So overall, I thought they were both really good. And I think the two big factors that I look at are the instructions and the taste. If I'm getting a meal kit, it better be straightforward enough for me to be able to follow. And both of their instructions were really kind of well. I think, again, Home Chef just went a little bit of the extra mile as far as having a little binder. I won over my little free gifts. And so, and the way the instructions were laid out, put them side by side, the font was a little bit bigger. The steps were a little bit clearer. It didn't feel like they were cramming too much into each step. And then taste-wise, I think, they were pretty neck and neck, but, the bacon and cheese stuffed chicken breast and the pesto mac and cheese, although it didn't blow me away, it was really good. And again, it was one of their express menus. So I like that they had those sort of things laid out that way. HelloFresh, really good, really, straightforward instructions. They're great for somebody that is maybe a little bit more familiar with cooking, maybe, has more of a desire to have kind of straightforward menus and healthier options, things like that. And it's great for that. But for me and my choice, I think Home Chef was the clear winner in this battle of Home Chef versus HelloFresh. And again, that's me. By all means, leave a comment. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this. And if you want to see more videos and more of my reviews of all of these different meal kits, we have more coming each week that I'm looking at. And so just hit the subscribe button and click like if you like this video. And we'll see you in the next video when we cook up something yummy. See you then.